Hello, Ray. Cosmic Ray is your name. Dr. Raymond Keller, actually, and his. I'm very happy to speak with you today, and that you are taking the time to spend a little time with me. And I would like to give a short introduction of what I know, actually, to my audience and to the audience that we can reach with this. Ray Keller is the author of, actually, at the moment, 6 books about the planet Venus. I have 3 here. I'm going to shortly show you how big they are. It's letter format, US letter format. It's almost A4 format in Germany. And it's really so much information. It's the Venus Rising, a concise history of the second planet, by Dr. Raymond Keller. And this is the 2nd book, Rockets to Venus. And the 3rd and the 4th book are at the moment on their way to me. And this is the 5th book, Lady Columba, Venus Revelations. And there's a 6th book right at the moment being printed. It's about to be published very soon, right?
Yes.
So Ray is really probably the man on Earth at the moment who knows most about Venus from all kinds of perspectives that we can imagine. And it's really fascinating. I'm really fascinated by your knowledge and by your ability to do researches and to put everything in such an order and doing all these, all these footnotes. And there's so much information. And for those who know me, of course, I have to tell you that he mentions my friend from Venus, Omnec Onec, in his books. And I'm showing you here. Here she is. It's a beautiful picture, a beautiful photo from Omnec from the 90s. And this is how I met Ray, actually, because Omnec and I, as you know, have been friends since the 90s as well. And so I was in Mount Shasta together with Omnec Onec at the Mount Shasta Summer Conference, which Rob Potter organizes. And there I met Rob Potter, of course, and later, and I'm a good friend also of another person. His name is Brad Marcus from Chicago. He helped me actually proofreading my blue book. The blue book is Simply Wisdom and Love, Venusian Spirituality, where I put all the information from Omnec in that's not in the Venusian trilogy. And so both Rob Potter and Brad Marcus sent me information about you, Ray. They sent me videos. They just, Brad told me about your books, and I was like, wow, that's interesting, but still it took me a couple of months, or I don't really know, until I really started to dive into it and to really look into it, because you have to have room and space in your mind, and you have to be open to receive new information. And the information that Ray is able to share and that he is sharing in his books is just so huge. And I feel some of it I already know, and most of it is new to me too. All his contacts, all his experiences about other Venusians, with other Venusians, even your trip to Venus, and there's so much. So now, Ray, I'm very happy that I'm eventually talking with you personally. And we are also trying to find out if Ray is maybe coming to Germany next year. And actually, he's interested in coming to Germany so that he can share his wisdom, his information. And mostly, of course, we want to share the spiritual truth and the spiritual message from Venusians. with the people to a broader audience and reach more people with that. And so there's much to talk about, and I'm very happy to introduce you now. And now it's your turn, Ray.
Thank you, dear Anja. I so appreciate having this opportunity of speaking with you and all of our other dear friends of Venus that are out there and watching this program. Well, I want to say that my experiences are on the third and fourth dimensional plane, on the physical plane. And Abejar is actually the name for the planet that we refer to as Venus. And as Omnec has said, and it's true regardless of what dimension that we encounter Venus, it is truly a paradise planet. So the language of Venus that they have is called Norcan, and the Norcans are originally inhabitants from Tau Ceti, a planet in the Tau Ceti star system. And millions of years ago, they left their homeworld that was drying out. It was turning into a vast desert, and they had to find a new home. So they set out into space, and arriving in our solar system, they settled on Venus, which had an indigenous life form already, various species of sentient bees, bumblebees. And so in my Venus books, I explore this connection between the Norcans and the bees on Venus, and the connection with bees on Earth, and the importance of Fibonacci numbers in the orbital relationship of the Earth to Venus, and also as far as in a hive goes, in a beehive, and how the society on Venus in the third and fourth dimensions is organized on the lines of a beehive. And it's a matriarchal society, of course, with a queen and everything. In the background, you see the Venus book there, Cosmic Ray's Excellent Venus Adventure. That's myself with a woman that was known on Earth back in the 40s and 50s as Dolores Barrios, but her true name is Lady Orda. She is a Venusian queen, and you'll be getting that book, because that's one of the books that you don't have yet, and that's on the way to you, along with book number 4. It's The Vast Venus Conspiracy. And what I have to say about that book is that so far there have been 45 space probes sent to Venus. That's more than any other planet or orb or any other object in space. And really, I mean, if it's the dead, lifeless world that NASA and perhaps the European Space Agency and the Japanese and the Russians occasionally say from time to time there's nothing up there, then why are they sending all these probes at a cost of countless billions of dollars and not paying so much attention to the other planets out there? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But I look at the actual science and interview scientists from around the world about their discoveries on Venus, either with balloons or balloon probes going in the upper atmosphere, ground-based astronomical observations, or the facts that were coming out from these various space probes that weren't released to the public, from Operation White Stork, which was Air Force monitoring of the Soviet search for life on other planets, and various internal NASA documents and documents from the former Soviet Union and present day Russia. And I mean, they'll literally astound you if you don't, think that there's, if up to this point you haven't thought there's life on Venus, you'll certainly come to a different conclusion after you read these Venus books. But the humanoids that inhabit Abejar do come from a planet called Norca. And we of Earth, of course, share in some of the connections with Norca, as well as many other planets in the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy that we find our planet in. And in my current book, Flying Saucers and the Venus Legacy, I also look at many other contactees. I certainly don't claim to be the only one. There are thousands. In fact, there was a recent poll that said that not only did some 78% of, Americans anyway, believe in UFOs as extraterrestrial spacecraft, but 15% of the respondents said that they actually feel they've been in communication with extraterrestrials. So this is, as Frank Edwards said, the journalist back in the 1960s, flying saucers, serious business. So Venus is a member planet of the Galactic Confederation of Light. It consists of 601 planets from 51 solar systems that are scattered throughout our Milky Way galaxy, mostly in this spiral arm of the galaxy. And it is the fondest hope of the Venusians that one of these days the Earth and its inhabitants will be ready to join that Galactic Confederation of Light. But unfortunately, the quarrels that we constantly have between each other and between nations here on Earth has not demonstrated any level of preparedness by our people. So they kind of look at us like children playing with matches in a dynamite shack. And but nevertheless, they are still monitoring our planet, working behind the scenes in the Earth-Moon system, and taking precautionary measures to help protect us and advance us. So, of course, these Venusians are working clandestinely, and this is in conformity with the words in the Holy Scriptures, because we know in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2, that says we should always be kind to one another, for know ye not that ye entertain angels unawares. And there's a definite connection between angels and aliens. And Reverend Billy Graham has said as much in his book, Angels, God's Secret Agents, on page 25 of that book, published in 1975. He said that he didn't see a difference between angels and aliens. Mm-hmm. So this is something, as far as unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomena, as they call it now, UAPs. This is nothing new under the sun. We look in the Bible, and in the book of Exodus, we see pillars of fire by night and pillars of cloud by day. Of course, in the book of Ezekiel, it talks about the wheels within the wheel, and seeing beings within the wheels, and so forth. So these kind of apparitions, and then the various photisms, the apparitions of mysterious beings or angels that appear all throughout the pages of the Bible, as well as the mythology and lore of many other civilizations. This is proof that we're not alone, and we haven't been alone for quite some time. Our origin, like our brothers and sisters of other planets, our origin is up there in the stars, and that's where we're headed. That's where we're headed in our path of cosmic evolution. That's where we are headed as well. So I can tell you that I'm going to Mount Shasta this summer. I will be there the 26th through the 29th of this month of August. And I've been assured by some friends, some Venusian friends, that there's been an augmentation of the Venus frequencies of love that are reaching this planet. And during that time at Mount Shasta, their transmitters will be particularly focused on that area of Northern California where Mount Shasta is located. Actually, not too far from the Oregon border. So these are transformative frequencies and facilitating an increase in those powers within us that are latent within us. And they will permit us to, through accessing, permit us to accomplish wonderful deeds on a multidimensional level. So get ready. If you're going there, you're going to end up surprising yourself, beginning to realize what you're truly capable of. And so these are some of the aspects about life on Venus and the Venusians that I like to talk about. Now some people have said, probably have said to our dear friend Omnec as well, that we're not political enough, that, why don't the Venusians interfere directly or in our politics and so forth, that we're not as political as they would like to see us or see the Venusians be. But one of our Venusian commanders, Aura Rhanes, she's on the backside of the moon, the commander of the moon-based Clarion. She said that the fate of your world is in your own hands. The political systems that you create to manage your progress or the lack thereof on the earth should be of your own making. This is in keeping with the sovereignty due you as a sentient species. So you may hear messages from others, with saying that we should, take these kind of actions. But, it's love that wins the day. And that's the message of the Venusians. Venus is, after all, the planet of love. And we don't get anywhere by arguing with, arguing heatedly with people or taking sides. I think the important thing is for us to present our message, and then it'll touch the souls that it's meant to touch, and they will be won over. They will be won over. I've come to meetings, flying saucer clubs and UFO clubs, and people were really hostile, at the beginning, but by the end of the meeting, they had been won over, and they even bought some Venus books and everything. So I'm sure Omnec's run into the same.
Absolutely, of course.
The same thing.
Yes.
But yes, I just want to to thank you for that, and I do have some questions that people have asked from time to time about the Venusians, about Venus and the Venusians, and I could go over those if you would like.
That's wonderful. Go ahead.
Okay. Question 1 was, in your Venus book, frequent mention is made of this on the subject of reincarnation. So how does this esoteric subject relate to Venusians? Well, many souls of Earth and on other planets in the solar system and beyond, they actually reincarnate on Venus. Having reached the highest plateau of spiritual mastery in this density, preparatory to their transition into a higher dimension. In turn, after several lifetimes on Venus, some souls return to the spheres of lower degree in order to serve the inhabitants of these worlds as avatars or of a cosmic gnosis essential for guiding their students in making their own transitions to Venus, onward and upward, as they say. So many of the brothers and sisters of Venus working here on Earth have been here before in prior incarnations. Essentially, they are attempting to waken us up to the reality of our own misguided thinking in so many avenues. They long ago succeeded in honing their intellects and setting aside their individual egos. Those that are reincarnated here on Earth are always to be found channeling their energy in the service of others. Of course, they are interested in accomplishment, but not for themselves. They are always working for the betterment of all. You see, long ago, the Venusians were as we are now, and we are evolving into a higher stage of civilization, and we can become as they are. So should one arrive at the point of being reincarnated on Venus, there is a hall of records there that can be freely accessed to reveal all previous incarnations in the denser realms. This hall of records has a machine that taps into a crystal ice cave below the windswept surface of the planet Uranus. You can literally find out anything you want to know about any prior lifetime of yours. But in order to access somebody else's Akashic record, of course, you would have to have their permission to do that. So there are a few individuals who have bypassed the so-called wheel of life, however, and these are the ones who have been translated to Venus for their worthy deeds on Earth in behalf of their fellow beings. And in the first book that you have, Anja, Venus Rising, it talks about Annalise Guerin of American Falls, Idaho. She was taken up bodily from Mount Shasta in California. She never experienced a physical death and went straight up to Venus. She now looks like a beautiful teenager. The key to this bodily translation is found in her 9 esoteric books. So I really can't praise Annalise Guerin enough. Her books constitute a marvelous work and a wonder. And now she's known as Lady Ankara. She's a commander of the Isis mothership of the planet Venus. So then I had a question. You have frequently mentioned the concept and state of happiness in many of your lectures. Can you elaborate on this from a Venusian perspective? And of course, it would be my pleasure. I want the people attending my lectures to know that Venusians are a happy people. This is a type of happiness that should not be acquainted with emotionalism and the drama that accompanies it here on Earth. The Venusians possess an inner joy that comes from carrying out a task well done. Everything the Venusians do carries an embedding of their own individual and collective life force. Suffice it to say, Venusians have the utmost respect for everything. This is because they recognize the divine spark in all of creation, and especially other sentient beings that they share the cosmos with. And I have to add here that one of the things that the Venusians have in their system and their way of doing things that we don't have, that would be really awesome if we did have one, is they have a department of happiness.
Mm.
So we have Department of Defense, Department of Energy, and that. But one of the priorities on Venus is to see that everybody is happy. So they're living the dream up there. We haven't got to that point yet. But
well, how are we getting to that point? I mean, if those who want to know ascend and raise their ability to be happy while on Earth in the physical body, what's the secret? What's the key to happiness right now and here?
Okay. Well, yes. One of the secrets, of course, there are many secrets to happiness, but one of them is the philosophy of abundance. And let's say that the world systems have said that, we only have limited resources and energy and so forth. And let's compare that to like a pie that we cut up this pie. And so we're all fighting over slices and crumbs of this pie. And the Venusians say, well, the universe is a big place. Why don't we just bake more pies? So it's just a matter of, of how we're going to look at these.
And if you want to increase happiness within yourself individually, I mean, the pie and everything, this is now an idea that's more for the society or for everybody to have this perspective, but individually. So when you yes. want to apply this philosophy just to yourself individually.
Yes, that's a good question, Anja. And on the individual level, what it comes down to is we have to get into our consciousness the idea that we should stop trying to change other people. The ones that we can change is ourself. So beginning with ourself, you see, we can make our life better, and then we can in turn help others. But we shouldn't expect anything out of anybody, because we'll always be disappointed, because we're stuck in the material plane, and we're living in what scientists call an entropic universe. That means that everything in the material universe is in a process of decay and imperfection. Whereas in the higher dimensions, that's not the case. So this is the important concept there. It starts with the individual, and then through individual acts of kindness, we transform the world one person at a time.
It's so wonderful, because it's always, it's always coming down to the same that Omnec taught, has been teaching for her whole life. She always said the most important thing that people on Earth have to learn is to replace judgment and criticism with love and acceptance. And basically that's also the key to happiness, because when you accept and love everybody, including yourself, and everything, including yourself, you start the separation, the feeling and the thinking of separation, right? And it all comes back to yourself, your attitude to everything, no matter what it is, right?
Yes, you have it. You have captured that idea.
Well, I have been listening and reading it for my half of my life, and yet it's still not always so easy, Of course, now we're at the moment, as you know, having severe processes all over the world going on with all these things and rules and regulation, as you know, Ray, all these travel. I mean, if there were not all these travel restrictions and everything, maybe I would even come to Mount Shasta. Yet I feel like, you know, I don't want to travel at the moment so badly because of this and that. So it's a big challenge to really, again, not to judge and criticize, even that's what's going on right now, but to accept and love what's happening. That's huge. Applying this.
And everything is for a purpose, and you know, the infinite creator made everything to that it might fulfill the measure of its existence. And so this is one thing, and you know, we were talking about synchronicities before. Sometimes these things, you know, there's a purpose behind everything that takes place, everything that happens. The other day I was going through a fast food restaurant, and they failed to put some fries in my order, you know. And I you know, because I didn't look at the bag when I, you know, after I drove up there, I just took the bag and went, and then I thought, should I go back and get it? And I said, no, the universe is sending me a message that having a heart condition, being a survivor of a quadruple bypass surgery, maybe the universe is trying to tell me something, that if I go back there, you know, it's going to be bad for me. So I look for that as everything is that the universe is teaching me something, is trying to tell me something. And so that's a sort of a Venusian way of looking about things. And this is, it kind of leads into the other question, is that what about fears? Are the Venusians afraid of death as we are? So the Venusians realize that the material body is something akin to a garment. When it wears out, they know that the time is fast approaching when they could simply exchange it for a new one. Having an assurance of reincarnation, there is no guesswork about an afterlife. It is no longer necessary for Venusians to live by faith. They passed that stage of their cosmic evolution countless millennia ago. They were asking Valiant Thor, or Dr. Frank Stranges was asking his friend, the Venusian Valiant Fleet Commander Valiant Thor, about that, the Victory Fleet, I mean. And he said, well, you know, we live with celestial beings from the hierarchy of light on a daily basis. We see them and we talk to them and everything. So, you know, we don't have to guess at anything or have faith in anything like you do, because we live in their presence. Mm-hmm. So the Venusians have attained to an awareness that when they move on to some other sphere of existence, they will be provided with a material body constituted of the elements of their new planetary environment. Their body will be perfectly adapted to the physical conditions that they will find there in their new celestial home. So when that fits perfectly well with Omnec's account of coming from a higher dimension of Venus and taking on a body to live in the material world here on Earth. How many? The other question was, how many inhabited worlds are there? Well, in the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus the Christ explained that the inhabited omniverse was so vast that not even the angels were privy to the knowledge pertaining to the ends of it. And even if the universe had any points of demarcation, The great esoteric teacher Helena Blavatsky also declared that the immensity of space was filled with intelligences. It's just an infinity of worlds, endless worlds without end, galaxies without end. It's an omniverse, multi-dimensional layers. So then the last question was, do the space people worship God as we do? Do they have any religion? Well, they do not worship God per se as we understand God to be, but recognize that there is an infinite creator constituted of spirit that permeates the entire fabric of the cosmos. And in the Gospel of John, we see that because the apostle writes that God is a spirit, and those that worship in spirit and truth. So they see the divine spark of the infinite creator in everything and everybody. There is no religion higher than truth. So manifesting kindness assures one's continual progress up the celestial ladder to cosmic perfection. There is no need for religious laws and ordinances when kindness is the prime motivator in life. They do recognize Jesus Christ as a supreme manifestation on earth of God consciousness. They also greatly esteem the Buddha, Muhammad, Rumi, Annalise Guerin, and other avatars that have incarnated from Venus and other celestial orbs to redeem us from the darkness and lead us into the path of further illumination.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding us and for sharing these beautiful answers and questions. It's, yeah, what else can we say? That's the most important information.
Thank you so much, Anja. Here is the, I'll see if my screen share works so I could show you and the readers some of book 6.